Good everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day. So today I wanted to talk briefly about the REST services callouts. Um, so I'm going to discuss about the way you can um, pretty much consume and send the data, right? Usually when you talk about integration, right? So it often involves Salesforce, an external system, maybe one or more than one external system, right? So just for the sake of simplicity, let's assume that we are talking about point to point, right? Say Salesforce and say SAP. Now, you can do two things. Either you can send the data from the Salesforce to SAP, or you can receive the data from the SAP, right? Now, Um, you can use the code, right? If you're using REST API, or you can use external services. That's one thing, right? Now, external services is pretty cool. I mean, you can do a lot of things without writing a code. But that being said, right, you have to uh, you have to remember one thing. If you're going for external service, just make sure that you don't bring out too long API definition file, because there is a limitation on that when it comes to external services. So remember that one, because we've hit that snag while we're doing external services for one of the customers, and then we have to go through the definitions and remove the methods which we don't want, right? So that's one of the way you can do that, or you can use the code, right? The good old code. So if you're receiving, say, a call from an external service, say for instance, if you wanted to pull the stuff, right, say from SAP, you have to use something called Sap Request, and you have to. So this is something I've written, right, a class, because I don't want it to. I'm pretty picky when it comes to writing code. I just want the code to be reused. I don't like the duplication of the code, different blocks, right? So I built this a static controller, static class in simple terms. So where I'm getting a result, right? So getting a result is HTTP response. So I'm just passing all this stuff, and then I'm calling it here, and this is the endpoint which I specified as a name credentials, and then I'm getting the HTTP response, and then I'm using a parser to get it. That's cool. That's when you're getting the data, right? And what if you want to send the data out? So let me take you to the trailhead. So in the trailhead, so if you wanted to send, say, JSON, right, you can do pretty much the same. So everything is pretty much the same, right? The only difference is, if you look at my code, right, this code is pretty much the same. So all you do instead of this, you will do something, something called. Um, so you do something called post result, and here instead of get, you do post, right? And then you pass the body as well, because you need to pass the body. So you see the header is the same, the body where, if you want it, you pass the JSON, right? So you be sending in an account information, or you can submit something else. So this is something you ought to build it. And once you build it, you need to do that. And then once you get a response, you compare it. And if it fails, you need to log it. So this is how simple it is, right? This is extremely simple when you want to send the data out. So like I said, right? In this case, right? So in this case, what I'm doing, I'm actually getting a product information from an API. So I've used this controller.get result, which is like a separate method. Now, if I wanted to get another stuff from another API, all I have to do, right? I just have to pass the endpoint, right? And I can reuse the method, right? Rather than copy pasting it. That's a very, very bad practice. So this is one of the things, because this is a developer certification, right? So I just want you guys to pay attention to the way you write code, because it's important. I mean, I'll be very honest with you guys, right? I've seen people who claim they have like 8 9 years experience, and they write shitty code, right? I've seen the code like this. I'll show you. I've seen the code. Let me know this, right? So somebody wrote a method like, okay, say public, static, void, just for the sake of it, right? and say post, postman. Come on, post data, whatever, right? And I'm just, they use this method and say post, and just saying, right? And then request dot set body, whatever, right? And then say for another thing, say what they do, they put another method like they say post, delta data, right? And they're exactly going to use the same method, right? So now if you look at it, this is like a duplication of a code, right? And if you wanted to change something, right, you have to change it both the places. So that's why I don't like this kind of code. This is just a crap piece of code. And I've seen people written code like this because I don't know the reason why they write. Maybe they don't understand how the how this separation of concern works, or I've seen people coming from a functional programming background and still performing better, right? So Apex is called object-oriented programming language for a reason, right? You need to use the OOPS concept. Just don't make it look like a procedural language. It's just an insult to an Apex. So that's why I always emphasize, right? I hate dirty code, spaghetti code in simple terms. So this is, pretty simple, right? So this is all I wanted to talk about, right? So this is important from an exam point of view, and I encourage you guys to, pick up any API, start pushing, or you can build your own API, right? I mean, you can build your own API, which I'm going to show you in the next episode how to do that, right? Build your own, Apex API, and you can use that to push the data. It's pretty simple, right? So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about, guys. I hope you guys have an amazing Wednesday. Adios.